Some video games push the limits of creativity, others push the limits of good taste. Over the decades, developers have released titles so disturbing, offensive, or graphic that they sparked outrage from parents, politicians, news outlets, and even governments around the world. Some were banned entirely. Others disappeared from store shelves almost quickly as they arrived. Today we're counting down another 5 of the most controversial video games ever created. Games that left players stunned and critics asking one question: how did this ever get made? Imagine walking into an arcade in the mid-1980s expecting to play Pac-Man. Instead, you're handed a light gun and told to torture helpless prisoners. That was the premise behind Chiller, released in 1986. Unlike traditional shooters where enemies fought back, this game placed players inside a medieval torture chamber filled with defenseless victims chained to walls and torture devices. Your objective wasn't survival, it was mutilation. Players could shoot limbs off victims, decapitate them, or activate horrific torture machines designed to inflict maximum pain. There was no heroic storyline or moral justification. The violence existed solely for shock value. Many arcades refused to carry the game, and critics condemned it for glorifying sadistic torture. Even by today's standards, Chiller remains one of the most unsettling arcade games ever released. Custer's Revenge. Released for the Atari 2600, players controlled a naked caricature loosely based on General George Armstrong Custer. The objective was to dodge arrows while walking across the screen toward a tied-up Native American woman. The game ended with an animated depiction widely interpreted as sexual assault. Outrage erupted almost immediately. Women's rights groups condemned it for promoting sexual violence, while Native American organizations criticized its racist stereotype and disrespectful portrayal of indigenous people. Retailers refused to stock it. Protests were organized, and the title quickly became infamous. Today, Custer's Revenge is often cited as one of the worst and most offensive video games ever produced. When the first trailer for Hatred appeared online in 2014, millions of viewers couldn't believe what they were seeing. Instead of fighting monsters or criminals, players controlled a nihilistic mass murderer whose only goal was to kill as many innocent civilians as possible. The black and white visuals made the violence even more unsettling. The game's trailer was so controversial that it was temporarily removed from Steam's Greenlight platform before eventually being reinstated. Critics accused the game of existing purely to glorify violence, while supporters argued it was simply an exercise in artistic freedom. Upon release, reviews were mixed, but the debate surrounding Hatred overshadowed almost everything else about it. For people, the game's existence raised difficult questions about where entertainment crosses the line into exploitation. Rockstar Games was already no stranger to controversy after Grand Theft Auto, but then came Manhunt 2. The stealth horror game encouraged players to execute enemies using gruesome environmental kills involving plastic bags, syringes, crowbars, and other everyday objects. The executions were disturbingly realistic and intentionally prolonged. The original version was refused classification in several countries, effectively banning it until Rockstar altered the violence and added censorship effects. Even after edits, critics questioned whether the game's brutality served an artistic purpose. Some countries still maintained restrictions years after release. To this day, Manhunt 2 remains one of the most heavily censored games in gaming history. Topping today's list is a game that shocked the world long before controversial games became common. The original Postal placed players in control of a mentally unstable protagonist who embarked on a violent rampage through public spaces. Unlike many action games of the era, innocent civilians became primary targets. The dark atmosphere, disturbing themes, and graphic violence led to bans in multiple countries and fierce criticism from politicians and media organizations. Following several real-life world tragedies, debates intensified over whether games like Postal could influence violent behavior. Developers defended the title as satire, but controversy followed the franchise for decades. Even now, Postal is remembered less for its gameplay and more for the cultural firestorm it ignited. Video games have always tested boundaries. Some challenge players emotionally, some redefine storytelling, and others became infamous because they pushed far beyond what people considered acceptable. Whether viewed as artistic expression or simply shock value, these 5 games changed conversations about censorship, violence, and responsibility in gaming forever. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into gaming's darkest and most disturbing history.